Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, May 20th, 2012. This is episode 876. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by GoToAssist from Citrix. With GoToAssist, you can take control of your IT world with one simple cloud-based platform. Provide live or unattended support to all your users anywhere. Sign up for your 30-day free trial at GoToAssist.com. Click the Try It Free button and use the offer code TECH. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code TechGuy5. Well, hey, and how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players. Does anybody have it? You mean your iPhone? Yeah, the iPhone. Or your cell phone. GPSs. Zip drives. I don't care. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. And if it's got a chip in it, we'll talk about it. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Outside the U.S., you can use Skype out and you can call the same number and it won't cost you anything. At least that's what Microsoft tells me. 8888 Ask Leo. Are you gonna on the west coast of the U.S., which including where I am now, the Tech Guy, the hidden location of the Tech Guy Labs, we will have an eclipse tonight, a solar eclipse. It's an annular eclipse. That means the moon will be a little smaller than the sun. So I call it the Johnny Cash eclipse. It's a burning ring of fire around the sun. It'll be kind of cool, I think. That's later tonight if you're on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you just have to call somebody on the West Coast and have them hold the phone up. You know what they do at concerts now? It's so funny. Bob Sarlatte, who's one of my favorite comics, is in the studio. When you do shows, they probably do it more with music than they do with comics. Do they people hold up the cell phone and send video to their friends? Yes. They do? Yeah, it's a little dangerous. It's a little weird. It's like, here's a very bad fuzzy picture of a guy 100 feet away, and you can barely hear it, but, oh, you're there, man. You got it's just like being there. It's a different world. When I walk around nowadays, nobody's looking at the world or each other. They're just all at everyone, young, old, everyone. That can't be good. That can't be. That's got to be. There's something wrong with that. And yet here I am, encouraging that kind of behavior. In fact, if you could have two cell phones, then you could have one in each hand. It'd be better. Go out and buy a couple more. The industry will thank you. People did not buy the Facebook stock this week. It was kind of a surprise. Everybody was very excited about the Facebook initial public offering for the first time ever. The public, the unwashed masses, the users, the people who use Facebook could buy Facebook stock. And on Friday, and everybody thought, "Oh, this thing's going to go crazy." I remember I got up early. Okay, this is it was the Super Bowl for geeks. It's a big deal. We got up, we all watched CNBC, and they treated it like a Super Bowl. They had a live reporter at the Facebook headquarters at Hacker Square, where thousands had gathered. Mark Zuckerberg was standing in front of a giant button. He was going to ring the bell to open the stock market, to open the NASDAQ market. They even had a special bell, and he signed the bell. I mean, this guy is a superstar now. What did he sign? He signed, and they showed it up at Times Square. They have the NASDAQ has that big advertisement in the in Times Square, and they showed it there. And then an interesting thing is that he said something like, "Tell us everything, and we promise only to share it with advertise." I don't know. He said something like that. Here's to open and connected living. It's a little self-serving. Tell me everything. I promise I won't tell a soul. Anyway, what's interesting is the stock was priced for the institutional investors, the big shots, you know, the people who have early access before the opening bell, at $38. That was like insider price, right? And you have to be a big investor with your broker, and your broker might be able to pull strings, and you can get it at $38. And the thinking is, well, especially this, the biggest tech IPO in history, the biggest tech stock offering ever. That you get in early, and then all the chumps come into the market, and they rack that stock up, and by the end of the day, you can cash out. Seriously, a lot of people think that. And Jim Cramer on CNBC, I'm watching the Super Bowl coverage. They got it's the same, It's got the panelists practically sitting on the field, waiting for the Niners to come out, and they're sitting there. And well, I know it's the Super Bowl; it won't be the Niners, but somebody to come out, and they're sitting there. And Kramer says, "Well, what we can't account for, we don't know where this stock price will end up. Admittedly, $38 is even too much. The smart institutional investor said $38. You're valuing this company bigger than Citicorp, bigger than some of the most prestigious established companies in America. Can't possibly be worth that much." But here's the good news, because the unwashed masses are going to get to buy this thing. And Jim Cramer says, well, I worry about them. They're so ignorant. They're just you're going to see a lot of kids buying Facebook stock because they like Facebook. They think Facebook, I use it. It must be a good stock. He said, this stock could go up $40, $50, $60 by the end of the day. And you can just see I don't know why, but I see them as like the guy in Monopoly with the big white mustache and the top hat. You see these capitalists rubbing their hands. Oh, we got in early at $38. And in fact, yes, when the opening bell, and I guess there were millions of orders waiting to come in. But I guess the unwashed masses weren't as dumb as everybody thought. Because what was the final price at the end of the day? $38.42. So those capitalists, I'm so happy for them. They made 42 cents a share. There was an interesting hack at Facebook. The Facebook engineers, knew that Zuck would be pushing the button to ring the bell, the opening bell, on NASDAQ. He'd be doing it at the Facebook campus in Silicon Valley. And NASDAQ people came, and, they had this special button. And the Facebook engineers said, wouldn't it be cool if the minute Mark pushes that button, it posts to his Facebook timeline that he rang the bell and he opened the day and he listed his company. So the guy, it's actually kind of a funny article written by David Garcia, who's one of these engineers. It's on TechCrunch, how Facebook hacked the NASDAQ button. This is the culture at Facebook, is hacking. And there's a picture of them. There's the NASDAQ button, which is really just a silly, there's Velcro in the back that's holding it on the plastic. And they got the box. And the NASDAQ people say, well, okay, you can open it, but don't break it. He says, as we unscrewed the cover and poked around inside, we discovered it looked quite different from what we were expecting. While the system wasn't too complicated, a touchpad, a light, and a gray box containing some relays connecting to the power supply, our hack was going to prove a bit of a challenge. We pried open the gray box to test the various circuits and figure out exactly how they worked. After some delicate tests with a voltmeter, we came up with a solution. They set it up so that the minute Mark pushed the button and rang the bell in New York City, he also posted onto his timeline, Mark listed a company on the NASDAQ. That's actually, I saw it when I was on Facebook, and I saw it, and I thought, wow, that's pretty, how did he do, I've never seen that before. Well, no, I know it was a little bit of a hack. Kind of cool. He pushed the button and listed. Wait a minute. There's more. Mark got married yesterday. I guess Priscilla. So now see, this is something, if you watch The Social Network, you got a complete mistaken impression of Mark, that he was a sad, lonely guy at Harvard who couldn't meet girls. A girl slaps him in the face in the movie, and so he creates a Facebook just to get back at women. No, he was dating Priscilla before Facebook. He's been dating her since he was a freshman in college. And now that he's worth $19 billion, finally, Priscilla says, "Okay, I'll marry you." I'm looking at his picture on Facebook. He's 27 years old. And he looks kind of goofy. He's kind of sweet. Doesn't look like one of the richest men in the world, does he? He married Priscilla Chan yesterday. Oh, you sly cove, you. And by the way, 805,000 people like it. That must make him feel better. Oh, whew. Thank goodness you approve. I'm not going to read the comments. I don't have the heart. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. We could talk tech. Did you buy Facebook stock? Were you one of the unwashed masses? Let's talk. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo?
Yeah.
Did you hit submit on my Facebook status?
He pressed the bell. Kyle Benham pressed the bell. Kyle Benham listed a stock on Facebook. This is the NASDAQ music. And there they are. They're cheering at Hacker Square. And the bell, there's no real bell because NASDAQ doesn't actually have a trading floor. It's over-the-counter stock. So they play some electronic ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I know that.
It's still exciting, though.
Yeah.
It's still exciting. Bob Sarlatte is sitting with me. And Bob is one of my favorite guys in the world. He's a comic's been around for
thousands of years.
Thousands of years. The voice of the San Francisco the field voice of the San Francisco 49ers.
28 years of that.
That's really a great gig.
It is kind of fun.
They probably pay you $50, but at least you get to go on the field.
Yeah, I get to bring people out with me, and it's kind of fun.
Cool.
And it's kind of good. You know, a guy will bring his son or something and say, hey, stand next to me when I do the lineups, because that's the coolest part.
Yeah.
When it's loud, you know. At tight end from Stanford. You know, that kind of thing.
Does that echo kind of throw you? Or
It does. I'm kind of used to it now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because it's like 3 seconds later it comes
It
back
is.
at you.
Yeah, they have monitors, too. That helps you a little bit.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, that's a blast. Yeah, forever.
You've seen Bob on Letterman everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the guys. I was talking to Kevin Pollak the other day.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you see Kevin?
Well, I was in Vegas doing a thing with him, but he moved to L.A., he said, temporarily 28 years ago. And he can't get, it's the movie industry keeps pulling him in. He can't get out of it.
Right.
You stayed in the Bay Area.
I did, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too. You know, it's kind of like the multitasking guy. They showed a bunch of old photos of comics that began in the 70s, and they showed a picture of me, and they called me the Bay Area multitasker. That's what they were calling me. You know.
So are you a geek at all, Bob? I mean, do you get into this?
You know what? This is what makes this funny. Larry knows all about this stuff, and I'm okay. I mean,
Larry Strother is here also with you because you guys have a band.
Yes, Butch Wax and the Glassbacks. Larry Strother, a fine writer and piano player, sitting right next to me over here, is the guy that got me over here to see you, Leo, because he's
a fan.
If there's a geek in our band, it would be Larry. Seriously. Absolutely. And I'm the Luddite of the band, but I'm surviving. I do okay.
Come on. What kind of phone do you carry?
It's in the car. Well, thank God.
Well, that's a bad sign. He's not in love with it, so he doesn't have it with him at all times.
Well, no, you know, I just don't want it to ring.
What is it, a Nokia? Is it a candy bar phone? What is it? He doesn't even know, does he, Larry?
It's a...
It's not a smartphone.
No, I just, you know, I'm not even on Facebook. I don't want even people to know. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, I got a website. I got people. I have a lot of...
The website is bobsarlatte.com.
Yeah. I gotta figure I have enough friends, you know, but...
Nobody, no. But see, you're in showbiz.
Right.
This is... Nowadays, I mean, it's interesting because what you're seeing now is the next generation bypassing Letterman, bypassing the networks, bypassing television, going straight to YouTube.
No, I know.
And getting millions of views. And I don't know if they're doing as well or not. It's hard to tell, but it seems like they're doing okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We have a lot of stuff up on YouTube. In fact...
Butch Wax does?
Yeah, we do. And I have a lot of stuff up there, too. The last appearance on Letterman is the first YouTube entry with me when you hit my name up there.
So BOBSARLATTE.
Nowadays,
you should call it Sarlatte.
I guess so. Yeah. Right.
Which one does? Let's see, a bio, voiceovers, film and TV, event. Yeah.
The Butch Wax part's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got a lot of movie stuff.
Oh, you were in Flubber.
Yes, I was the coach. Yeah, and you know what's funny, Leo? I still coach basketball. I coach like fifth graders in San Francisco. And I was always ticked off because in Flubber, I'm ahead by 40 at half, but I lose. I lose because, you know, Robin Williams put the Flubber on other guys, you know, and
That's
I'm
not fair.
And I get beat. And it's a pretty good casting for because I actually get pissed off at it. I get annoyed when I lose.
It's real. You don't throw a chair, though, like Bobby Knight.
No, but it's close to that. There's a scene where I'm yelling at the ref, screaming at him.
I actually see it on the website, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I coach a team now at St. Stephen's Grammar School, and the name of the team is the St. Stephen's, what is it? What do you call it? I forget our mascot.
The fighting.
The fighting. Oh God, what are they?
Oh, you're not happy in this flood.
Oh, there we go.
You're about to lose it in this.
I'm a little ticked off right here. Yeah, I yell. Yeah, I think it's one of my own players I'm yelling at this point. But I do get. But you know what? Look at that hair. I do have my dad's hair. That's for
good,
real.
Good hair.
No, it's actually the St. Stephen's Cougars that I coach,
Cougars.
which is kind of an unfortunate mascot for a bunch of 10-year-old boys.
It's not a good mascot.
They actually don't have numbers on the back of the jerseys. They have pictures of Courtney Cox on the back. It's a great image. But it's fun. I have a lot of fun coaching, and that was a good movie part. And
it's fun. Yeah,
I'm still out there running around doing a little stand up, getting ready for the next. You know what? There's a club in the city that I'm still working out. The old Tommy T's moved to the city.
I remember that.
And it's right across. It's an old showroom for cars on Van Ness Avenue, and
that's actually a good location.
It's
that's
very
right
cool
downtown.
Yeah, and I've been going there, screwing around, having some fun in there.
Yeah, you know our friend Bob Ayers of the Other Cafe
Sure.
has been having reunions of that great.
Well, you know
club.
what? We did that reunion about a year and a half ago at the Palace Fine Arts. I
wonderful.
emceed the opening
you did
of that.
Great job. It
was
wonderful.
fun.
And to see all those faces, even Bobcat Goldthwait again.
I know. Who's actually, if you watch him now, he's toned down what he's doing.
Thank goodness. I don't think he could keep his hair to head
He had no pipes left, you know.
Yeah.
But he was there that night, and it's typical of every comedy show went late.
Oh, yeah.
Even Robin gave up and said, you know what, I can't get any laughs now. Every laugh is drenched out as his.
Oh, but people were waiting for Robin to show up. Robin Williams. When he did, it was because he wasn't on the bill. And so it was pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah. The back and the green room was fantastic. You know, Paula Poundstone, I love seeing her.
She's great.
She's always
a talent.
Yeah, she's fun to see.
San Francisco comedy scene was in the 80s was very hot. Yeah. Very hot.
I still see Tom Kenny. We have the same voice agent in L.A. Tom Kenny's a great guy.
Funny guy. Yeah.
Really a sweet guy, though.
Yeah. So I wanted to give you a plug because you're doing, I don't know, this is the annual farewell performance. And how many years have you been doing this?
What is this, like the third?
Because I remember Jennifer and I saw you. We were married yet in 1990. I want to say 90 or 91 at Bimbo's 365 in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it was the farewell performance then. We thought, we got to see them. It's their last gig. But you know what's cool, Leo? We were looking at these videos last night, and we go back. We have videos that go back to like the 90s, right? Early 90s. Oh, you've been going a long way, yeah.
All these old VHS things. But you know, and there's still bits that we can say, well, let's try that. We haven't done that bit in a long time. It's like looking at the greatest hits album or something.
It's a band that never rehearses, only plays once a year.
Actually, we do a few other gigs.
A couple of gigs a year.
Rancho Nicasio, we play there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, up here.
And you do skits in between. Yeah. It's called Butch, Wax, and the Glass Packs.
Yeah, started in St. Mary's, and Larry and I aren't actually original members, but we joined shortly after they started going. We did clubs from the 70s, mid 70s to we opened with the Doobie Brothers, the Pointer Sisters. We were opening for some big acts and doing some concerts. And,
how fun!
Yeah, Boss Gags played with all those guys.
Fun.
Then we quit. And then 7 years later, I guess the statute of limitations was up, so we were able to go out and start doing it again.
So you are going to do it again, June 28th.
29th and 30th.
29th and 30th. And where?
At Bimbo's 365 on Columbus Avenue.
Now, that's an amazing club because it's really got that old 50s feeling. In fact, when you go in at the bar, there's an aquarium in the bar. And I don't know how they do it. It's kind of magic, but there's a very, very small naked girl in there.
You know, it's a refracted light deal, isn't it?
I mean, I actually do know. She's in the basement.
Yes.
She's sitting on an ottoman. She's swimming, pretending to swim on an ottoman.
Very good.
And then they use mirrors. That's the technology. I finally got technology into this segment.
I knew you tried. I used the word refracting. I thought that was pretty good. I was kind of bordering on being technical.
Then they refract her into an aquarium. It's the strangest thing. But you know that she's not always there. It's only if it's like a big act. Special event.
Although Julio in our band, as a birthday present for me, went down there nude on the thing, and he was rolling. That wasn't it wasn't pleasant to look at, but it was funny.
BobSarlatte.com, SARLATTE.com, and ButchWax.com if you want to get tickets to their farewell performance at the greatest club in the world.
Oh, it really is.
Great to see
you have to come and see us.
Thanks a lot. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to tech we go. I just couldn't resist. I've known Bob for years. Used to have him on the radio show all the time when I was just, a regular talk show host. So it's so fun to see him again. So I couldn't resist bringing him in. But let's get to the phones. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Mike in New Jersey, our first call of the day. Hey, Mike, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Oh, I'm just happy to be on the show with the digital god himself.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I think isn't there a competitor, a female competitor? Who
There is, but she doesn't know what she's talking
she calls
about.
herself the digital goddess.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't presume. I'm just a geek.
But anyway, Leo, I've got a laptop computer that came with an AMD Sempron and Windows Vista.
A Sempron.
And, I think it's. Yeah, I downgraded it to XP, thank God, to make it work a little bit. And I think I'm a little outdated, I'm sorry to say, and it's finally time to get something new.
Actually, you know, that processor ain't bad. I mean, if you could easily go to Windows 7 on that.
Well, it's so slow even trying to handle things the way it is right now, just running XP, and I'm sure it could probably take 7, but it's just very, very slow. I've got 4 megs of RAM in it, and it's a Dell Latitude and just doesn't seem to integrate very well. It has to think a long time before it does anything.
You know, how fast is that processor in there? It's a few gigahertz, right?
You know, I'm on it right now. I can tell you.
Sempron's is not a bad. You have 4 gigs of RAM. You meant, right?
Right. I've got 4 gigs of RAM, and the processor is 2.0.
See, that is not a slow machine. So if you're now, I could save you some. Now, look, okay, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. Is this just an excuse to buy a new machine, or do you want to save the old one? Because I'm with you. If you want a reason to buy a new machine, please, it's okay.
No, I have 2 identical to this. One is my mother's and one is mine, and I connect with them so I can try to keep her up to date. She's 81, and both of them just seem to run very, very slow by comparison to other computers. So I'm looking to speed things up a little bit. And all I'm running, occasionally I'll try to get a video, a YouTube video, or burn a disk or something like that, and my connection speed is good. But it just seems to be slow to operate.
All right. Okay. I mean, it is a single core, but 2 gigahertz is not slow. In fact, the specs on that computer are not bad. I do have to say that XP is a little slower than Windows 7, believe it or not. You know, typically, as you get a next version of Windows, the next version, it gets slower and slower and slower. In fact, Microsoft made a concerted effort to make Windows 7 lighter and faster, partly because a lot of people were bringing netbooks in. A netbook, an Atom processor in a netbook is actually slower than what you have. With less memory, and in fact runs Windows 7 just fine. So you certainly can get a new computer nowadays. They're not expensive. What are you looking for? You want a laptop?
Well, I had 2 questions for you. One was that I want to know if I should just get a computer now or wait for Ivy Bridge versus Sandy Bridge.
Well, that'd be a big jump, certainly. Yeah. And did you say you want a laptop?
I would like to get a laptop, and I'm looking right now. Believe it or not, I'm looking to buy it from Costco because I get an extra warranty automatically. And I was thinking about an i5, and I'd like to keep it under $1,000. And I was wondering if that made sense, and what you would recommend from there.
Yeah, there's some threads here I want to untangle. So first of all, Intel has you hear i3, i5, i7, but the current i3, i5s, and i7s, most of them are based on what we call the Sandy Bridge architecture. And you mentioned Ivy Bridge, which is the newer architecture. And Ivy Bridge has some nice new features built into it. The Ivy Bridge mobile parts won't be out till next month. And they do run hotter. So I would not get a laptop today with Ivy Bridge in it. They're actually some beautiful new laptops. Secondly, you're not going to get that latest and greatest at Costco because, in general, it's my experience that they have slightly older models. So companies like Lenovo and Dell give Costco kind of the less expensive, older models. Well, I'm not sure going to Costco is going to be... I mean, look, if you find something you really like at Costco, there's no reason not to buy it there. But there may not be a compelling reason to buy it there. It's not going to be much cheaper for the same exact computer, I don't think.
If you were looking for an under $1,000 computer could be able to run Windows 7 easily, even upgrade to 8 when it came out, that you were going to get for yourself for under $1,000, what would you be looking at?
I would look at, well, I'll have to say, Lenovo just announced this week some very nice Ivy Bridge laptops. I mean, you said Ivy Bridge. There are some advantages. Ivy Bridge has USB 3 built in. If you're kind of planning, one reason to go with Ivy Bridge is you want to kind of plan for the future, right? You want to buy something that is the absolute latest right now, so that you don't have to buy another one for a little bit longer, right? The new Lenovo ThinkPad T series is spectacular. The T430 and the T530, they have Ivy Bridge. Now, these are not the laptop parts. These are the standard voltage Ivy Bridge, which we're going to run a little bit hotter. But Lenovo's good. They have backlit keyboards. I personally really like the Lenovos. I think they're an excellent laptop. So these T series I would certainly consider, but you won't be buying that at Costco till next year probably.
Okie doke.
And if you want long battery life, they another thing they do, which is nice, and a number of manufacturers do this, they have battery slices, so they can make it heavier and thicker if you buy the additional battery that plugs into it.
Well, primarily, I don't run it on battery very often. I'm taking it from one hotel to another and plugging it in and then going like that. I'm not running it mobily so much as I need something more portable than mobile, if that makes any sense.
I'm a big fan right now of the new ThinkPads. I think these are probably the nicest. They're 14 inches. They have an HD display. I'm not sure what you're doing with it. They do have a larger one. The L530 is 15 inches. I'm not sure what you're doing with it, so I don't know exactly what you are looking for. But just in general, these are probably the best Ivy Bridge notebooks out. They're the first anyway.
And are they under $1,000?
That's a good question. I would guess they will be around $1,000. It's hard to charge more than $1,000 nowadays for a laptop. $879 they start at.
Sounds good to me. I will be looking in that direction, and I thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm very fond of the Lenovos. They also have a convertible tablet. Okay, now that was for that. I was answering Mike's question, but I do want to say a couple of things. First of all, just between us, Mike could probably get that Sempron running pretty lickety split with a rebuild and maybe a new hard drive or an SSD drive. So that computer is not old and obsolete by any means. On the other hand, I understand if you want a new computer, you want a new computer. I do not. Costco's fine. I don't think you get particularly great savings there, and it's usually older stuff. So, look online. And Lenovo's not the only company I recommend. I like Dell. I like Lenovo. I would also look at the Ultrabooks if you want something very light and you don't need a CD drive, although I think the Lenovos do have a DVD drive in them. And then most importantly, if you can wait, do. Newer Intel processors next month, the Ivy Bridge Mobile, and Windows 8's coming out in October, and I think we're going to see a lot of new hardware for that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More to come right after this.
My universe will never be the same. I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Never stand in the way if anybody wants to buy a new computer. So one of the services we provide here at the Tech Guy Show is if you call in and just kind of wink when you say it, my computer is just too old and messed up. I think I really need a new one. What do you think? I will say, oh, yes, you definitely need a new one. But I have to say, between you and me, I am not the kind of guy who just wants to buy a new computer at the drop of it. Well, I am personally, but I understand, money's tight. We can't just run out and buy new computers. So oftentimes what I will tell you is a way to revive or save an older computer. If it's too slow for you, sometimes putting a Linux operating system on there makes a big difference. So there's things you can do if you don't want to spend the money on the hardware. On the other hand, I'm always glad to spend money, especially other people's money. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Kevin in Beaumont, California. Hi, Kevin. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing today?
I am well. You gonna watch the eclipse this evening?
I'm gonna try down here in Southern California.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. We're we're kind of at the tail end of the path of it. You'd be better in Hawaii, but probably too late to fly.
I don't think I can make it out there today.
So what can I do for you today?
Well, we're planning a trip to China this summer in August, and my wife and I and my daughter, and we have iPhones, and they're under contract, but we're not really sure whether we should unlock them and get data chips in China or just go with the AT&T international plan. We're not really sure what.
What parts of China are you going to?
We're going to Beijing, Guangzhou, Xi'an, and Guilin.
Okay, I went to all those, most of those places. I don't know where Guilin. You mean Guilin?
Yeah,
Guilin.
Maybe I don't have the pronunciation quite right. Yeah.
In fact, I went on a very similar tour, and my iPhone worked great everywhere. What I would suggest is, I do not have any experience with buying a SIM chip in China. I think probably not a good idea. I would just continue to use your iPhone, but do go to is it AT&T?
Right.
Yeah, go to AT&T and purchase a international data plan. How long is the trip going to be?
3 weeks for my wife. She has relatives there, so she's going to go a week earlier.
Does she speak Chinese?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. So then it would be an option for her to go to the one of the Chinese carriers, and there's something like a dozen carriers there, and buy a chip. Now, unlocking an iPhone is non-trivial. Have you had it for more than 2 years?
No, we're still under contract.
Okay, that's right. You said that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Apple and AT&T will unlock, but I think you should ask them.
Okay.
You should ask them. And because unlocking an iPhone is not the same as jailbreaking. Jailbreaking merely means that you can buy apps from other sources than Apple. Unlocking is a different process entirely.
Okay.
So here's the deal with AT&T's data plans. You're going to be there a long time. Depends on how much data you plan to use. It's you can get up to, I think I got 250 megabytes, or maybe it was 500 megabytes of data, but it was hundreds of dollars. So if you go on AT&T, you can see the plans. It is really nice. Let me tell you, there's a couple of reasons why you don't want to use a Chinese SIM. One is I don't know what the data rates are there. They may still be expensive. And two, you're going to get a Chinese phone number. It's kind of nice to have your actual phone number in your phone in case there's an emergency or whatever. You can, people can reach you.
Yeah. It might be better to keep it simple.
Yeah, and it's very simple. And I did this in China. I think I bought 250 megabytes. I was there for 2 weeks. I think 3 weeks, you're going to want what you should do now. You're not going until August. By the way, it's going to be hot. I just want to warn you. Especially as you go to south to Guangzhou and Guilin, it's going to be really, really, really hot. I was there in July, and it was murder. So you're gonna want to get AT&T roaming for the phone, which doesn't make it much cheaper. It makes it a little cheaper for calls. And AT&T text. Don't forget, international texts cost a lot of money. So buy a text package, and then most importantly, you're going to want to buy a data package. And
now, are you able to use Skype or FaceTime with the phones there?
Yes.
Because we're going to bring our iPad, too.
One of the reasons it's nice to have the phone is because, of course, things like Skype, Facebook, Twitter are blocked in China often. It comes and goes. You can actually go to this Wikipedia page of what's blocked right now that changes. I was able to use Skype and make phone calls on the hotel Wi-Fi. And now, if you're in a hotel, you'll probably have Wi-Fi, and that's fantastic. Then it's a free call or a very cheap call, and really worth doing.
Yeah.
So I was able to use Skype, no problem. You should check to see. You won't be able to use Twitter and Facebook, but when you have a phone, you've got certain advantages. You can't tweet, but you can get around that with various tools. I use, for instance, Path. I doubt they're blocking that right now on the iPhone. They're not trying super hard. Now, if you want, James DeRuvo, who does our show notes, says the maximum or one big is 800 megabytes, not gigabytes, 800 megabytes for $200. That would probably last you. That's expensive, but it would probably last you 3 weeks.
Right.
And you'll be glad to have it. For instance, maps work. I was walking around Beijing. If I got lost, boom, I just use Google Maps and it works great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with the data plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, Kevin. You're going to have the time. Have you been there before? It sounds like you might have.
No, I have not.
Your wife has. You are going to be blown away. It is the most exciting, interesting country and they're just on the move. It's fascinating.
Okay.
Have fun.
Good.
And wear shorts. It's going to be hot. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. We're going to get back to the phones in a second. Our next call, Andres in Huntington Park, with the exact right question we started the hour with. Should you wait for Windows 8? Hard but night. Andres, Huntington Park, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, Andres.
I was wondering if I should wait for Windows 8 or just get a laptop right now with Windows 7.
If you could wait to October, it might be worth it. Now, here's why. Normally, if you had Vista, for instance, you wouldn't have to wait because Windows 7 ran fine on a Vista computer. But Windows 8 is such a departure. It's very touch-focused. So I expect to see in the October timeframe every computer manufacturer releasing hardware built for Windows 8. Which means a touch screen, right? Because it's very touch-focused.
I went on the forums and I asked if I should get one, and they said it would be mainly for touch screen, like, the all-in-one computers, and I was like, well, I'm probably not going to get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, Windows 8 runs fine. I'm running it right now on a standard PC. I just use the mouse. And there's some question whether a touch laptop makes sense at all, because you have to, Apple decided, or at least at the time decided, who knows what they're going to do in the future, that they didn't want to do touchscreen on the laptop because it just doesn't, your arm's length, but see, I disagree. I think we want touchscreens on laptops because after I've used the iPad for a while, I fire up my laptop and I keep touching the screen. It's like, oh, it doesn't work. So I think it's probably a good idea, in fact, to you should not make an assumption about whether you're going to use touch. I think you might. I really think you might.
Oh, okay.
But it's only if you can wait. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, we're brought to you today by the good folks at Citrix who do a fantastic product that's just got a whole lot better. Are you familiar with what's going on with GoToAssist? Maybe you've tried GoToAssist in the past. GoToAssist.com. If you go to the page, you'll see it's changed quite a bit because GoToAssist, they acquired a company that's adding basically, this is it's everything GoToAssist was, the best remote support ever, plus remote management. So this is brand new. You can monitor server health, desktop health, inventory assets, including software, track network usage, set up notification alerts. So if you're a support person, you'll know whether something's wrong before your clients do, which means you can get in, swoop in and fix it, which makes you a hero and, frankly, more efficient, more effective. You've got to try this out. The new GoToAssist is mind-boggling. We gave it to Russell Tammany, our IT guy here at TWiT, and he's on vacation. He went to Japan. He's so happy with GoToAssist. I guarantee he's logging in from Japan and monitoring. SaaS-based, purpose-built to give you more control of your IT world. You can use there, of course, world-class remote support to solve problems quickly from anywhere. And now this new monitoring gives you customizable dashboards displaying performance for your networks, your servers, your desktops, everything. And the alerts mean that, for instance, the toner is low. You get it fixed. The hard drive's running out of space. You get it fixed. It's failing. You get it fixed. It is incredible, and I want you to try it free. It's so easy to use. You'll set it up in literally 1 minute for free for 30 days right now if you use the offer code TECH. Visit GoToAssist.com. It's just one word, TECH, okay, for the offer code. If you're in IT and you want to become a managed service provider, this is going to change your life. GoToAssist.com. Use the offer code TECH. Russell gave it. He was using a product to do the same thing. It was like 20 times more expensive, and he's making the conversion. This is something new. In fact, if you're already a GoToAssist, I don't replace toner. Are you kidding? If you're already a GoToAssist client, you'll get this automatically. That's one of the nice things about Citrix. They just do those upgrades all the time. They're always improving products. GoToAssist.com. Use the offer code TECH. TECH. So click that Try It Free button, and they'll ask you right up front for the offer code now. You have to click that link, and then TECH. That's the offer code. GoToAssist.com. Offer code TECH. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. This is where we talk about technology, computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater, digital photography coming up. Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, joins us at 33 past the hour. He's got an assignment review, and we'll also talk about, for those of you on the West Coast, how to take pictures of a solar eclipse. We've got a solar eclipse coming up this evening. Won't be visible in the eastern U.S., but I believe the path goes through the west. If you're in Vancouver, B.C., and up north, you get an even better shot of that. But he'll talk about how to take a picture. Now, you know you're not, I don't have to repeat this, right? You're not supposed to look at it. Do not look at it. You remember how when you were a kid, you used a magnifying glass to burn holes in pieces of paper? That's what it's like, only it's your eyeball. So don't look at it. Don't look at it. Now, the good news is, thanks to the internet, we can all watch it because there'll be many streams. NASA's going to do a stream. Be plenty of ways to safely watch the annular eclipse. Now, it's an annular eclipse, which means the moon is slightly smaller than the sun, so it's going to look like a ring of fire. It's going to be quite a spectacular eclipse. Really excited about that. I'm going to see another eclipse in November. I'm going to Australia to see a solar eclipse in November. I think, I can't remember when exactly, middle of November. A couple of ways that you can look at this eclipse. First of all, if you have an arc welder's helmet, that's good, because you're basically looking at an arc, right? So an arc welder's helmet will protect you. I don't know what there's a. Let me just see if I can find this. If you have a grade 14, grade 14. Arc welder's helmet to hand, you can watch the eclipse that way. That would be safe. You could look straight at it, because that, of course, is a. You know, it's funny. When I was a kid, what we'd tell people is, oh, you take a piece of exposed film and you fold it over 4 times, and then you can look through that. Nobody has exposed film anymore. I knew we should have kept Kodak around. You take a piece of what's exposed film? Well, you know, it's in a camera. No, I don't know. We take the chip out of the camera. No. There's film in the. What? I don't understand. You could also use a pinhole camera, but I always found that kind of disappointing because you're not really looking at it. You've poked a hole. You could do this with a shoebox. It works fine. That's how we did it. You take a shoebox. You use a pin and you poke a hole through one end of the shoebox. And you aim that at the sun. Look, your back is to the sun, and you look at the back of the box, and you can see. You actually will see an image. It's kind of cool of the sun. Maybe I'll just go to the hardware store and get some number 14 welder's glass. Too bad we don't have. Do not point your camera. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can point your camera. We'll find out. Chris Marquardt will tell us. Very cool to see a ring of fire eclipse for those of you. I don't want, many of you can't, so I'm not going to. But you can watch on Justin TV or somewhere else. The annular solar eclipse coming up tonight. Last one was in 1994. It doesn't happen that often. It's very cool. The problem is when the sun is somewhat eclipsed, it's very tempting to go look at it because you feel like you can. Don't. You could cause permanent eye damage. You could actually cause blindness. Just like that magnifying glass burning holes in leaves, you could cause blindness, that sun, even though you feel like, well, that's not that bright. There's a number of sites on how to make a pinhole projector. The Christian Science Monitor, I'll tell you what, I'll put this link in the show notes, has a good article on with links to various sites on how to make a pinhole camera for yourself. That would be the safest way to look at it. And they quote the director of the Clark Planetarium in Salt Lake City, Seth Jarvis. He says, Do not put soot from a candle flame on a piece of glass. Do not use exposed black and white film or double up your sunglasses. Sunglasses aren't going to do it. He even says, don't use welder's goggles unless they're rated for arc welding. That is grade 14. That's how serious this is. Do not stare. Although I have to admit, and I know this will happen. When I was a kid, hey, you looked at it. You looked at it and you looked away. You do that when you watch a sunset. You look at it, you look away. Don't do that. 8888 Ask Leo is my number if you want to talk Eclipse or tech or anything. Gary in Santa Barbara's next. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you. Thanks for calling.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Real quickly, I have a couple computers and laptops. It's XP and also 7 on there. My daughter, I bought her a MacBook Pro 4 years ago. She's a student. And I got to get a new computer system, so I'm thinking of going Mac. But here's the bottom line. I'm not a Mac guy. I mean, I've only used her computer twice. I paid, I think, $1,300 for it. And here's my question. I know about antivirus, Macs are not virus-proof, but they're pretty...
There are fewer... the truth is a Mac is just as vulnerable, but there are far fewer viruses.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to buy. I mean, I can buy what I want, okay, but I keep my life real simple, okay? I have people in my business. It's a long story. You can spend an hour saying. But I'm aiming towards the Mac, but what are the benefits versus... And the negative connotations.
I'll tell you, that's a great. I'm glad because a lot of times we talk about this, and it really is somewhat of a religious war.
Yes.
So let me give you the completely secular, non-religious point of view, and I think that's what I specialize in. I use both. I like both Windows and Macintosh. 99% genetically the same. They're both personal computers with very similar heritages. They both do much the same thing. Macs are best. My rule of thumb is Mac for the home, Windows for business. Macs tend to be good home computers, and Windows are best at business. There are a lot of business applications. The other thing Windows is best at is gaming. If you're a serious gamer, you probably should buy a Windows PC. Although, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, Diablo 3 just came out, and one of the things I like about Blizzard, they generally release their games both Mac and PC. Steam is available on the Mac now. The Mac is catching up as a gaming platform, but that's one difference. Business is a big difference, especially if you have a line of business application that you need. If you're in real estate, for instance, mostly.
I'm a lawyer, so.
Well, do you use any dedicated apps or just a word processor?
I word processor, but I have 2 secretaries. They do all the work for me.
Let them do it. I would get a Mac. I tell you, the Mac, because it is less of a target for hackers. You don't have to worry about security so much. You still have to pay attention. It's not.
Okay, what would you recommend for a spyware or antivirus to buy with that?
I'll tell you. There are a lot of them, and most of them are not particularly useful. The one that advertises with us and that I think is the best is ESET. It's available at the Apple Store. Cybersecurity for the Mac from ESET. There's also a shareware program that's not an antivirus program but quite useful. It's called Little Snitch. And it's actually probably, it might even be more useful. Little Snitch watches for outbound connections. It turns out when somebody gets something bad on your system, the thing they want to do is connect to the outside world. So Little Snitch notices that.
Right.
The only thing about Little Snitch, it's annoying because it's constantly saying, "Hey, somebody wants to connect the internet. Is that okay with you? You want to somebody wants to connect the internet. Is that okay with you?" So after a while, I turn Little Snitch off.
Yeah, because see what I'm doing is I'm going to buy an iMac for my boat, a big one, and then I'm going to buy a laptop.
Go for it and get an Air, get a MacBook Air. They're light. If you've got the money, you're a lawyer. You got the money. It's really worth it. I like it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, you know what I didn't do, and I got to do it right now, and I got to remember, I forgot, is to mention Squarespace.com, one of our sponsors for the podcast. And, our caller from Saudi Arabia wanted to use him, and I wanted to encourage him to take a look. He's on WordPress.com now. Squarespace would import his entire blog, all the comments, all the images, preserve all the links, all the SEO, and give him so many nice features, including that RSS feed that he wanted. Squarespace.com. take a look around. There's a try it free button so you can set up a site for free. And I got to tell you, the templates, the fonts, everything that they do is so fantastic. They've got iOS and Android apps that make it very easy to post, to moderate comments, to check your stats. Look at that post. You kids, stay off my lawn. If you're using WordPress.com, this is 100 times better. Always secure because it's hosting plus software. Now, it's not free. WordPress.com is free, but I got to tell you, it's very affordable. And considering what you get, it's worth it. You get what you pay for. As little as $8 a month when billed annually for a standard site. And if you want the unlimited, I think this is the best deal. $16 a month when billed annually. You get unlimited pages, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage. They'll register your domain name for you and hook it up so that your domain name goes right to where you want it to go. And if you've already got a domain name, they'll move it over for you. God, such a good deal. This is hosting plus the best content management software in the world. But I tell you what, you don't have to guess. You don't have to believe me. Visit squarespace.com and try it free for 2 weeks. If you decide to buy, use our offer code, and you're going to get two very nice features. One, as I mentioned, when you buy a year plan, you get the domain registration worth about $15. And the setup, which is complicated, well, not super complicated. It's nice to let them do that. And you'll get 10% off your first purchase. So that's why it's worth probably buying the year plan. Get the maximum off. The offer code on this is TechGuy5. You don't need it for the try it, but you do need it if you want to buy it. TechGuy, the number 5. Actually, I probably have that in the lower third somewhere. Yeah, there it is. TechGuy5. At squarespace.com. Please try this. I think you're going to really like it. Everybody I know who's moved over to Squarespace is extraordinarily happy. It really works well. Squarespace.com, offer code TechGuy5. Excited about the eclipse? I'm excited. And because and by the way, you should be able to see some of it or something everywhere west of the Mississippi. If you're in Albuquerque, if you're in Lake Tahoe, you're to see an annular eclipse that is a ring of fire that could burn your eyes. Don't look straight at it. But somebody pointed out, I think it was NASA in their video, that if you are, because it's going to happen late in the day, you'll be able to see a sunset with a ring of fire. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like, but that's awesome. The next total eclipse in the U.S., this is not total, this is an annular eclipse. That hasn't happened since 1994. Our next eclipse is in 5 years. We'll have a total eclipse in 2017 in the U.S. I'm actually going on an eclipse cruise in November. It's Mac Mania 15. It's a Geek Cruises is the company. They do these cruises at least once a year. They do Scientific American cruises and they do Macintosh cruises. I'm going on the Macintosh cruise for Mac fans, and we're going to be in Australia, November 7th through the 21st, and at sea. At some point at sea, I can't remember exactly when. But halfway through the cruise, we will stop and look at the total eclipse of the sun, which will be remarkable. So there's eclipses all the time if you're in the right spot. But tonight should be interesting if you're in the West. Looking forward to it. We're talking to Gary in Santa Barbara about buying a Mac. Did I answer your questions, Gary? Does that explain everything you need to know for that new Macintosh computer? I guess so. He's listening to the radio now. Robert in Burbank, California. Beautiful downtown Burbank. Hey, Robert. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome to the show.
I had a disaster, Leo. I believe in backing up, and I did all of that stuff, but my mobile office was stolen out of my vehicle. I lost a laptop, a Wacom tablet. I lost a Motorola Thrive tablet. I lost a number of pieces of gear. Now, the data is safe.
Good.
It's all been backed up.
Good.
And I've had to replace the hardware. what I want to know is, this time around, is there something I can put on the hardware if a disaster should strike like this again that'll help me track it or find it?
That's great. Yeah, LoJack for laptops is what you want, right? In fact, there is a LoJack for laptops.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a number of companies that make software you could put on your laptops. Absolute Software makes one called, they call it, I think they licensed the LoJack name, but they call it LoJack for laptops. And what happens is this software runs kind of hidden on the laptop. They make there's a company called, or I think it's Orbicular that makes one for the Macintosh as well. And this stuff runs on the laptop and calls home, phones home. And now there's no guarantee, but it actually works pretty well. So what it will do is it will look for Wi-Fi access spots. The more of them there are, the better. And of course, nowadays they're everywhere, so that's an easy thing to do. So once it sees a open access spot, it'll phone home. It can lock your laptop, lock your data. It can delete your data remotely. You know how your phone will let you send a signal to it, says delete that? It'll do that. It will give you, it will geolocate your laptop. And it's $40 a year.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. So it's absolute.com.
Absolute.com. All righty, Leo, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hope your insurance covered it.
Actually, no, because the car was parked on the street, so my homeowners wouldn't cover it, and I haven't checked with the car insurance yet, but I think they might.
Ah, it's terrible. Terrible. Horrible. I'm so sorry. That's the worst thing. Yeah, Orbicule makes the similar product for the Macintosh. Orbicule.com. I like Orbicule stuff is even cooler. It takes pictures with the camera because most laptops now have cameras, right? And sends them home. It phones home and says, "This is the guy who stole your laptop." There's also an open source solution called Prey, P-R-E-Y, and this one's free. I don't have any experience with either this or LoJack for laptops. You might try the free one first. Mac, Windows, even Linux, and iOS and Android. Prey lets you keep track of your laptop, phone, and tablet whenever stolen or missing. It's an intriguing idea. It does the Wi-Fi auto-connect, hooks into an open hotspot when no internet connection is found and says, "Hello." It uses GPS or the Wi-Fi, takes pictures of the thief through the webcam, locks your system down. I mean, this might even be, I mean, this is free, and then they have, of course, a pro plan, of course, that is exactly the same price as the LoJack for the laptops. So I don't have experience with either one. I don't know which will work for you, but I would say I would check out Prey first because it's free, and then the Absolute maybe. And I like the Orbicule. I have tried that one, Orbicule for the Mac. Let's see. Ed in Palos Verdes, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Ed. Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great.
Hey, I got a quick question on a Dell Inspiron 9400. It's an older machine. Came with XP, and the bad guys attacked it, and it pretty much got hacked all over the place. So we formatted the hard drive and installed Windows 7.
Good.
And in fact, it actually runs better than it did with XP.
Yeah,
which
7
you
is
sort
great.
of alluded to earlier.
7's great. It's very lightweight.
Yes, and it really does improve the performance, except for one little thing. Circles are ovals and squares are rectangles.
Yeah, you have the wrong driver for your display. So LCD screens have a native resolution. They're square pixels, and they have a native resolution. Now, they'll display other resolutions, other dots, but if the aspect ratio is not identical to the original, it'll do exactly what you say. It'll stretch circles and rectangles.
Okay,
so
now
a couple of possibilities. Well, there are a couple of possibilities. First, you might just check your display settings and see if there are other resolutions available.
Okay.
And maybe pick a different one. There should be one that's the native resolution. That's what you want. So you can go to the Dell website and say, on this 9400, what is the native display? Dell will also have drivers, and having a Dell driver will certainly help.
Well, I went to the Dell website, and they don't list Windows 7 drivers for that old of a machine. They only go up through Vista.
Oh, interesting. Use the Vista driver. That should be fine.
That's sort of what I thought, because Windows 7 is kind of like Vista Plus.
It is Vista. They just cleaned it up. It's the same.
Don't let that secret out, Leo.
It's the same driver model as Vista, so there's no reason a Vista driver shouldn't work just fine. First thing I do is to go and check your resolutions, though, and try some other ones. But if you're using a generic driver, yeah, you absolutely want to get the Vista driver from Dell. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Chris Marquardt is here, the photo guy. Hey, Chris. Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Where have you been? Where have you been?
Oh, I've been doing the things I usually do, like holding workshops.
Oh, you mean working for a living? Oh,
I was working. Yeah, for change, I was doing some work. Yeah, so I apologize. Apologize for not being back so early.
No, we're glad to have you. Thank you for being here. Chris does a great photography podcast called Tips from the Top Floor. And he does it in German and English because he actually is in Germany right now. He's in Tübingen. He also does some great workshops. You can find out about everything he does. Just go to our website, techguylabs.com. We have a link to chrismarquardt.com there. And you can
check out the brand new one over at canyonlands2012.com. We just put that out. We're going to be in the desert for 3 days shooting the Canyonlands National Park.
Wow, is that in the U.S.?
In September, Canyonlands, Utah. Oh. Awesome landscape. One of the most mind-blowing landscapes on this planet. So
this sounds like
fun. It is going to be fun.
Wow. Okay. What a great workshop. You're doing that with John Miller, who does your Tibet workshop with you as well. I know.
Yes, the Mr. Rest of Everest. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, restofeverest.com. So we were going to do a review of the photo assignment, but let's push that to the end of the month. What is the assignment? Just so we can give everybody a chance. Your homework. Is we're going to give you a chance to finish your homework.
Yeah, and I apologize for pushing that out, but there's something interesting happening. The assignment is light. What light does to things, and we've already have so many awesome entries there. So
you know what? The problem is this eclipse is going to be the best example of light. So we thought we'd give you another week, and maybe you could add some eclipse photos. I'm going to certainly try. Now, first of all, of course, check. We put a link in the show notes to a good article with video from NASA about where you'll see this eclipse. It will only be fully annular from Oregon to Albuquerque at a kind of a diagonal path. But most of the western United States will see some of an eclipse. There's an unusual feature, which is it's late in the day, which means we'll get probably a sunset. So, but can you just whip out your camera and take a picture of this? I doubt it. Chris, help us.
Not. Yeah, well, if you haven't done any technical type photography, it's probably going to be a bit difficult because you need to learn how to do manual exposure. The sun is really bright, so this will pretty much throw your camera's automatic settings. And and then on the other hand, you also need a very long lens or a telescope to get it close up.
Right.
So these are the kind of things you want to learn. So if you haven't done any of that, it's probably the wrong time during an eclipse to learn how to do it. But you could use this as kind of a starting point for the next eclipse. I think next eclipse in the U.S. is going to be in
2017.
2017 was a bit long out, but there are other eclipses going to come up. You're probably going to see one in Australia.
I'm going to see one in November. So this is my practice for Australia.
So this is for you and for everyone who wants to do it. So get a long lens, 600 millimeters, 1,000 millimeter telescope kind of thing. Yeah, long lens.
All right.
The sun is very small.
The most I have is 400. I'll go with 400.
Yeah. So the other thing you want is the sun doesn't really hurt the sensor if you take short exposures. Like if the sun is in the picture, I mean, cameras don't just break. That's a good thing. But if you want to turn that sun down during an eclipse, even if it's just a partial one, the sun is still very, very bright. Pretty much the part of the sun that sticks out from behind the moon is as bright as the sun is when there's no eclipse.
Right.
So you need a filter, a specific filter to cut that brightness down. There are actual solar filters out there that you can buy. They're aluminum covered. or coded, they take away like, I don't know, 99.999 something % of the light, down to a thousandth of a % of the light, pretty much. So you can safely take a picture and get great pictures. Then, as soon as the eclipse goes total, as soon as you have the moon in front, you have this corona. That's when you start, when you can actually remove the filter. But again, it's pretty technical, and those corona pictures are very often done in an HDR type fashion. People take multiple shots and they stack them on top of each other, and yeah, there's a bit of a learning process for sure. So what I would do if you're really into that, I would go out and talk to some eclipse photographers. There are lots of forums that deal with that. Lots of eclipse geeks out there, and they are, I'm pretty sure, pretty helpful when it comes to these kind of questions. And then you want to practice with a telescope, with a long lens. Again, don't learn it.
And you only get a little time to practice. This is it.
Just a few. Well, you can practice the bright part during actual sun with the right equipment.
Well, that's true.
Obviously, don't look into the sun, and don't buy any new gear, especially for that the day before the eclipse, because you will need time to learn it. Don't use the flash. Very simple.
Yeah.
Because not only is the sun so far away that you would probably need a pretty.
Why would you use a flash?
Well, if it goes dark and people's cameras are on automatic mode, the flash comes on.
You could laugh if your flash goes off and say, oh, I guess I'm just a goofball.
But that is going to also annoy the people around you who try to
well, that's true. That's true.
See the clip.
Yeah,
so switch that off.
Yeah.
And there's a makeshift setup that you can use in a pinch. You can pretty much use what you said earlier, shoebox with a hole.
Yeah, pinhole
have
would
the
work.
sun go through that, project it onto a piece of paper, and take a picture of that paper.
You did
that will certainly work.
You did a segment on pinhole cameras a few weeks ago.
Yep.
This would be one way to try your pinhole camera.
You see that effect when you have a tree and the solar eclipse shining through that, and you have all these little eclipses on the ground. Pretty much those holes in between the leaves of the tree, those are all little pinhole cameras.
Yeah.
They project that down there. So
if I can find, I'm sure they're sold out everywhere, but if I could find some number 14 arc welder's glass,
you could try shooting through those.
I could shoot through that, and that might work. And then I have my 200 lens, but I can put a doubler on that to get to 400. You need a tripod.
You definitely need a tripod for that, yes.
So the whole thing basically is finding that darkening filter or the ND filter. Do they make ND filters that are that dark? Probably not.
Well, they're called solar filters, and they are really that dark. They pretty much look black to your eye, and then you get some very tiny percentage of the sunlight come through, just enough to shoot.
I actually, believe it or not, I have Eli, our intern, calling around trying to find number 14 welder's glass or an arc welder's mask. And if you see me wearing one, you'll know. You remember the old days, and apparently this was a bad idea, but they said use exposed black and white film negatives, fold it over. No?
No. That's not good enough. No. It's pretty much it's not reliable enough. I mean, you might get to a certain point where it's enough, but
have you done this, Chris? Or have you actually taken pictures of an eclipse?
The last eclipse here in Germany was quite a while ago, or the last full eclipse, the last total eclipse.
So you haven't had the opportunity.
It was cloudy and overcast, and we didn't actually get to see it. So no, I haven't really done any solar eclipse.
But
this is how I would do it. You know?
Yeah, that's my great fear, is that it's going to be a cloudy night, and we won't be able to see anything.
Oh, up in Australia is going to be all right. Maybe not today, but maybe.
Well, we're on a boat, so what they can do is sail to a clear spot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool. I want to be there too.
Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, our assignment is light. Now, this could really be. I think if you submit a good eclipse photo, I'm pretty much guaranteeing you're going to get in our review next week with Chris Marquardt. Here's how it works. You need a Flickr account. They're free, and if you're already a Yahoo member, you probably already have a Flickr account. FLICKR. It's Flickr without an E.com. And what you do is you upload it, tag it with the word light, and then you have to join the Tech Guy group if you're not already a member. So on the groups menu, look for Tech Guy and submit that photo. You get to do one a week, so you can submit a couple between now and then. And we will review our photos next week. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. What is this? Leo Laporte. Crazy photography. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. We're talking about the eclipse. We're talking about tech. We're talking with Chris in Anaheim. Hi, Chris. You're next. Leo Laporte.
Hey, Leo.
Hey, Chris.
Chris in Anaheim, the 50,000-watt blowtorch KFI.
It is. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of Southern California, KFI.
Down here, yeah, with Tech Talk. Hey, yesterday you brought up, iTunes iMatch.
Yes, which I'm a fan of.
Which I was very fascinated on the idea, not even so much as the cloud, but to get my music, for a one-time fee upgraded, like you said, to the 256K ACC, copy protection removal and all. And I thought, hey, this is cool, So, and then maybe later, as you recommended, I could even back it up over to, Google Backup also, which would give me another way to back it up in the cloud. And my understanding is then I think they even up you to 350 on the MPEG format, So I went ahead and signed up for the Apple last night and started the process. But what I'm finding, and I don't know if this has been the experience, is a lot of the songs are, showing as uploading, meaning they didn't find a match.
They didn't match them. Yeah.
Yeah, the real common pop tunes, 80s, 90s.
Did you rip them yourself?
Yeah, these would have been ripped off of CDs and things like that.
So it's hard for them to match rips.
All kinds of weird answers, like people saying this is common and then they don't know how to, fix it. And then the other thing is once it's uploaded, is there a way you can ask it to recheck?
No.
I know it's in the iTunes library.
No. So the problem is the difficulty of matching something that you ripped yourself, and it does depend considerably on how you ripped it and what ID3 tags are in there and all of that stuff. I would strongly suggest the Macworld article. If you search or Google Macworld Secrets of iTunes Match, they have a very good series of articles on using iTunes Match. They have a link there, too, on what you need to know about iTunes Match. Apple does not do a good job of documenting how it works. We really have to figure it out. If you have the full album with proper tags, it's going to do a better job. If you have one cut that you ripped or downloaded from Napster, as in my case, in many cases, it will upload it. Now, my experience has been very good with iTunes Match. I do have a ton of music that I got from, shall we say, alternative sources, back when I knew no better. And actually, I believe the music industry knows this. iTunes Match is kind of a one-time amnesty program, in my opinion, because what they've done, if they match. Now, here's how you could figure out what's going on. If you go to iTunes and you right-click on the top bar there and you select iCloud status, you can now sort your music by how whether it's matched or uploaded. And many of the songs that I ripped myself or I got from Napster even have been matched. They're all in pretty good shape. Now, of course, the stuff that's going to do the best is the stuff you purchased from iTunes or another source. But you could see, I'm looking through it right now, I have a lot of uploaded music. And, it's mostly these single songs that are not full albums that I probably downloaded illegally. On Napster. And so for whatever reason, they're not being recognized. Is there a way to convince iTunes that these are legit or that, to replace them? I don't know. I would take a look at the Macworld article, The Secrets of iTunes Match, and find the best information you can. But I'm looking right now, and I even have this stuff that I ripped myself, as you did. Here's a They Might Be Giants album that I actually bought the CD and ripped it, and it's a full album, and it's everything, and it's still uploaded. It will not upload anything or try to match anything that is less than, I think, 92 kilobits per second. So make sure your songs are higher bit rates. Best would be 128 to 256. If it's lower than that, all you have to do is take the song, right-click it, and re-encode it, which is kind of cool. You could actually say, turn this into an MP3, even if it's already an MP3, and just say turn it into a higher quality MP3. We'll also put, thanks to Wordsworth in our chat room, who's been great today with the links. He's got a link to an Apple discussion on their troubleshooting forum, or their support forum on troubleshooting iTunes Match. And so I understand, and this was something I recommended yesterday, that one of the really great features of iTunes Match is you can replace this lower quality music you've ripped yourself with high quality AAC files. But you're right, it doesn't work for everything. And Apple's not particularly good about explaining why not. So I'm not sure if anybody's figured out the secrets to getting stuff matched. You want it to match, not upload, because when you're uploading it, you're just going to download the same copy that you uploaded. So the ideal situation would be for iTunes to recognize it, say, oh, yeah, don't worry, I got that. Because then if you delete that song and download it again, you'll get an unprotected 256 kilobit AAC version of that file, which is, for most cases, exactly what you want. I'm not sure. Apple, again, doesn't say, but I would guess, and the chat room seems to agree, that if you have a good set of ID3 tags in there, in other words, if you've identified the song in the tags, it'll do a better job. You know, I don't know if that's the case. I'm looking at my They Might Be Giants, the ones that so this is an album called Dial a Song that I ripped from They Might Be Giants. And it looks like it's pretty well tagged. It's got album art. It's 184 kilobits. That's weird. Maybe it's a VBR. But it does say the album. It has a track number, has a year. I mean, it's pretty well done, I think. So maybe it's not paying attention to these ID3 tags. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Apple does not tell you, unfortunately. And so what it did with this is it uploaded it to the internet. And if I download it again, it'll be the same version that I uploaded, not an improved version. Of course, it's not going to be copy protected. That's the main reason I think I would use this, is to remove copy protection. I think it's pretty much going to match stuff. Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the criteria are, and Apple's not telling. Here's a 128 kilobit ripped Uncle Tupelo album. I remember I had that CD. I've got the album art in there. I've got good tags, and it's ignoring it. So I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows. That would be good to know. I think it's still worth it if you have any copy-protected music. You'll get rid of the copy. Anything you bought on iTunes, you'll get rid of that, which is nice. How does it do? Let me ask the chat room or anybody who's listening. How does it do with stuff you bought on, let's say, Amazon? Does it recognize that? Jim in Temecula, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for calling.
Great. Hey, I have a question. I'll try to make it quick. I have two daughters that are going off to college this fall, and with all the costs involved in getting them into the colleges, we're on a limited budget.
Oh, believe me, I know. I know how you feel.
Yeah, it's really been a puzzle to figure out, but we're figuring it out. But we want to get them new laptops to go off to college with.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it becomes not only what they do their homework with, but it's their entertainment device as well.
Exactly,
yeah.
And so, but we're on a budget between $700 to $800 a piece.
Oh, you're in great shape. There are a ton of excellent laptops in that price range.
Well, I would like to know your best suggestions for college students.
I would, as I mentioned earlier, I would definitely look at these Lenovo's, the ThinkPads. They're very good. They're business-focused. They're robust. They're strong. They're well-built. I think you're going to get an excellent laptop for that price.
Okay, they're ThinkPads?
ThinkPads from Lenovo, Lenovo.com. Dell as well has many good laptops in that price range. You're not going to get a Mac in that price range. The cheapest Mac is $1,000, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, the Mac is not an option for us.
Yeah.
But the ThinkPads, can they still play movies in their room?
You bet. You bet.
Leisure time.
Yep.
And
You bet.
The music and do all the same things.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. And just make sure you get one with a DVD drive, and you'll probably want to add some good speakers for it. We're going to put Robert on a diet, on the carb-free diet. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. It's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. And if you want to know more about the stuff we mentioned or you want links, we've got a great, we have a website. I won't use the great word. We have a website, techguylabs.com. The great James DeRuvo is writing all about it. He's taken notes and everything on that website. So go to techguylabs.com and you can read up on everything we've said over the last 876 shows. The new website is really close, really like a few weeks away. We've been having constant meetings with great folks at Lullabot who are doing this. I am so excited. So that's going to launch soon. And it will be, besides being prettier, cosmetics aren't really the reason to do this. Besides being prettier, it'll be more functional, and you'll be able to make comments, which I think is very handy. So look for that soon. Meanwhile, the old site lives, and the content's there, and that's the main thing. techguylabs.com. We were talking about buying computers for college. I could spend a little more time on this, I think. Things to think about. Certainly a laptop. These Ultrabooks are very popular right now, and I think really good for college, for a kid heading off to college. If it's a MacBook Air, they really kind of pioneered this. But now every Windows manufacturer is making PCs that are what we call Ultrabooks. They're very thin, very light, around 3 pounds. This is the Dell Ultrabook, the 13-inch Ultrabook, which is, I think, I'm holding it up. When I say it's because it's in my hand. I realize you can't see it. But this right here, you see this in my hand? This is the Dell Ultrabook 13. I think it's a very nice notebook, very compact. And would be a great tool for a college kid. There is one issue, and by the way, the Dell and the MacBooks are started at $1,000, so they're a little bit out of our caller's price range. But there are other less expensive Ultrabooks that are quite good, including the Lenovo. But the issue on most of these Ultrabooks is they don't have a disk drive. They don't have a DVD or a CD-ROM drive. You can buy an external one. I think for a kid in college, that's actually a good idea because this is not just their homework. This is their TV. This is their movies. This is their entertainment. So an external DVD player, a DVD-ROM drive, and external speakers are probably a good idea. Then that becomes a really wonderful entertainment unit. When I was a kid, we went with a typewriter and a stereo. I think these are going to be pretty good choices for kids, and there's certainly plenty of choices in that $800 price range. 8888 Ask Leo. Of course, theft is a consideration, and you might spend a little money on a Kensington lock. Most of these computers, this is the Dell that I'm holding, have a special attachment in there, and it's a very easy thing for the kid to use. They put the Kensington, the little cable in there, and they can lock it around a table leg or something. And it's not, of course, going to stop a thief with bolt cutters, but it's going to stop the casual thief who walks by and just swipes it up off the desk. And that's really what you want to do. And then teach the kid that this is it. Take good care of it. Please, take good care of it. 8888 Ask Leo. Hisham is calling from Saudi Arabia. Wow. Hello, Hisham.
Hi there, Leo.
Great to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, sir.
Thank you so much for calling.
I'll get to the question quick. I got a WordPress blog, and also I'm a heavy user of Google Reader. I want to change the way my blog posts appear to other readers when they read it through an RSS reader, like Google Reader, for example.
What is the what kind of blog is it? What's the blog engine? It's WordPress, you said?
Yeah, WordPress.
Is it WordPress hosted or WordPress.com?
It's .com.
Okay. So
in the settings, I've got two options, which is either highlighted view or
full text.
Views that full text.
Yeah. So what that is whether you want just an excerpt to appear in Google Reader, or you want the full article. Which do you want?
That's what I want to advise on. Why do people put highlights? Because does that affect the view count of the website?
No, it still comes from your website. The main reason people do that is they have ads on the website. So they don't want, and I think this is a mistake, they don't want somebody to use an RSS reader like Google Reader to read their entire page, because then they won't get the ad revenue. You don't care about that, do you?
No.
It's my strong advice for anybody who has a blog. If that's not an issue, and I don't think it should be, I think you should just, I'm one of those people who says, hey, give it away. The more people read it, the more hooked they become. In the long run, you get more value. It's always best to serve your audience first, an advertiser second, third, fourth, or eighth, or 100th. Yeah, we got to make money. Everybody's got to make a living, but serve the audience, because that comes back to you 100-fold. So my strong suggestion, unless you have a compelling reason otherwise, is to always use full text.
Okay.
What's your let me look in Reader. Give me the website, because I'm gonna see if I can add your website to it's WordPress.com.
Yeah. No, I don't want to say that out. Say my.
Oh, okay. You don't have to. You don't have to. I was going to take a look at it in Reader. Reader is what we call an RSS reader. So, just to kind of explain I know Hisham, what this is, but just to explain to others what it is, RSS is a way of syndicating content, and it means that a website, most websites do this, can create a special file, a file written in XML, that contains information about the posts on that site, and a reader can aggregate those. So if you use Google Reader, or there are a lot of different news readers out there, what you do is you add the RSS feed for the blog you want to read. Most of them will auto-detect that. And then you can scan through a bunch of blogs very quickly. So in my Google Reader, I have a tech news folder that has maybe 100 different tech blogs, and I can scan quickly through the headlines. But what I like, and I strongly encourage, is that when I click that headline, it then pulls up the full text of it. That way I can also use Instapaper and read it later, and other tools to read the blog post later. So, Hisham, if that's your inclination, I would say do it.
Okay, yeah. I was actually trying to switch over to one of the sponsors, and there's some issue with my... Yeah, exactly, yeah. I didn't want to say that out loud.
Oh, that's... No, we love them. That's all right, yeah.
There was a problem with the payment because my credit card, which has got a local address, is not accepted at the moment. And they don't take PayPal. So.
Hey, Hisham, send me an email, leo@leoville.com. I have some pretty good friends at Squarespace, and I'll see if we can help you out.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It's my great pleasure.
Been a long-time listener.
I am thrilled to have you listening in Saudi. That's great. And you listen over the internet on the podcasts?
Yeah.
Is this?
It's probably 24 hours. Live stream is on in one of my computers back at home.
Hisham, I love you. Now, is this Skype that you're using right now?
Yeah, I'm calling through Skype, and thank you for the call, Fina, who's been patient with me with the voice. I've been having some sound issues.
You know what? It sounds great. This sounds better than a phone call, I'm sure. Hisham, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're listening in Saudi Arabia. Keep listening. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That is a beautiful song. Way up high. Who's singing that? Is that Don Ho?
Biz.
That's great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our musical director is Kyle Benham. He does such a great job finding just interesting stuff, and he makes a playlist out of Spotify of all the songs he plays during the show and puts it on his Google Plus account, Kyle Benham, Benham. But we also put a link on the show notes at the end of the show. James DeRuvo will put it in there. You'll be glad to know, Kyle, because of you, the new website, it has several categories for posting on the new website. You know, question, Leo blathering on about something, and one of the entries is song. So we have now a new data type on the website, Kyle's song. That's going to be fun. Louis or Lewis on the line from Alberta, Canada. It's International Hour. Hi, Lewis.
Hey, how's it going today, Leo?
It's great. How are you?
I can't complain. I got the day off work, so I'm just going to chill out and figure I'd give you a quick shout here.
All right. What can I do to help you?
I was just watching the latest episode there of Windows Weekly with Thorat and Ayaz there, and they started talking about this Microsoft signature thing, and apparently, I'm a bit of a geek, and they've started selling Microsoft PCs where for an extra $100 you can have all the bloatware removed from your system.
Isn't it amazing that costs money? That to not have crapola on your hardware costs money? But of course, the reason is because they make money, right? So HP, which was notoriously bad for this, and other PC manufacturers pile garbage on the computer, free, 2 months free of an antivirus and so forth, and by doing so, they make money. These people pay to get this desktop real estate. So I think this is hysterical that the Microsoft Store is now charging you, and for $100 more, no junk on your computer. By the way, Apple's done this for years. There's never any bloatware. I just want to point this out. I don't want to be biased or bigoted, but Apple sells the hardware. They don't have to put this crap on there. So
well, that's exactly the point. But like I said, I'm a tech support guy around my town for a lot of people, and I just did a reinstall of Windows for a buddy of mine, and it literally from like reinstall to finish took about 5 hours. Like, in my opinion, my time is worth a little more than $100 for 5 hours. But.
So here's what you get with the Signature PCs at signature.microsoft.com. I'll take you to the Microsoft Store. It comes with, ta-da, a copy of Windows. Oh, wow! They give me a copy of my own operating system. Wow, that's so generous of them. And you can install it any time.
What a
racket, you know?
Yeah, I think we've kind of got to get the word out, and I think you're one of the best people to do this, is just simply a lot of the consumers at this point don't realize how much that bloatware slows down their machine.
And so many computers, by the way, I want to point this out, thanks to Microsoft, who is so paranoid about piracy that they charge less for a copy of Windows if the PC manufacturer agrees not to give a disk to the consumer. They're so paranoid about piracy, they say, we don't want to. I was talking, we were talking last caller about how put your audience before your advertiser if you're a blogger. If you're a PC manufacturer, put your customer ahead of your own greed and stupidity and paranoia. Please. Everybody who buys a computer should get a copy of the operating system clean with no bloatware with the computer. In fact, if you want, you're really greedy, Microsoft? You're really greedy, Dell, IBM, ThinkPad, Lenovo, whatever. You're really greedy? Install the bloatware on the hard drive. Ship it to me that way. As long as you give me a clean Windows installer, I can always reinstall Windows and get rid of all that stuff. Then I'd be happy. But they don't even do that.
No, nowadays it's a hidden partition on the hard drive, but like I said, it takes so long to do like all the Windows updates after the install.
Well, I know. Now, one thing you can do, and this is a very handy thing to have, Lewis, there's a company or program that will let you slipstream updates into making your own installer. So what I do usually is so when Windows 7 came out, I have a Windows 7 disk, but I will make new install disks over time that have slipstreamed the updates into them so that I have a clean install, but I don't have to go, I make it easier for me each time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been looking into doing something like that, especially if I start doing a lot of system restores off of it. Like, I think with Windows 7, they did something that was a little nice. I can't remember exactly how I got my hands on it, but I went right to the Microsoft site and dug around, and I found an ISO image of a Windows 7 disk that they just gave to me. And basically, as long as I have
that's valuable. Yeah, that's what they do nowadays. And this is another way they get around this and still give you what you need. They'll have an install partition on the drive that does, in fact, as you found, have a clean install of Windows, has an ISO of that, and you can use that. Let's put it this way: consumers need to demand bloatware-free computers, and it's not, unfortunately, it's only those of us who are sophisticated enough to even know what's going on that are going to ask for this. And you need to, and this is the most important, if you buy a new computer, ask, do I get a Windows install disk with this? And if you don't buy that computer. Don't buy that computer unless you have a Windows install disk. And then once you've got a clean logo disk, you can then continue to make a new install disk if you want that's faster. Installing Windows is faster than it used to be now because they do an image install ever since Windows 7. That's going to be, and Windows 8 is going to be even better. So that does speed things up. But you're right about, I agree with you, Lewis, about doing all the updates and all that stuff. You ought to get a clean install, and you ought to get a clean disk. And you got to talk to them. We've got to pressure Microsoft. We really do. I'm going to take a little break, and we're going to talk more in just a second. In fact, our next call coming up with Boris in Woodland Hills with a smart malware. Uh-oh. We're going to do a little malware removal for you in a second. But first, so sad to hear that Donna Summer passed this week of lung cancer. Not a smoker, but lung cancer can strike even if you don't smoke, and she fought it, but passed away this week. It's a shame in a way. We were talking about this yesterday. I was talking about it with a friend that she became so closely associated with disco. She was the queen of disco. And then when disco faded, because people just got really tired of it, so did she. But, her talent was incredible. Her voice, her control, how many octaves? I mean, many octaves. She's very, very, very talented. And I think in some ways it's a shame that she was so closely associated with disco, because I think a lot of people wrote her off saying, well, she's just a disco singer. She had 5+ octaves. Web6427 in our chat room says, Leo, disco has not faded away. Okay, sorry. But unfortunately, Donna Summer has, and we will miss her talent. Boy, was she great. Boy, was she great. 8888 Ask Leo. We were talking about clean installs of Windows. You got me on a rampage. I apologize, on a tear on that one. But it's something that just bugs the heck out of me. And of course, Apple doesn't do it. But now remember, Apple, first of all, makes both the operating system and the hardware, so they control it all. There is probably less of an ecosystem of bloatware for Apple anyway, so there are probably fewer opportunities for them to sell bloatware. And more importantly, they charge enough for their computers, they don't have to. They have plenty of margin. If you're a PC manufacturer, it's quite the reverse. The margins in the PC world are razor thin. That's why PCs are so cheap. They've cut their profits out. And when you cut out profits, you have to cut out other things or find other ways to make money. One of them is putting bloatware on the system that you charge these software companies to put there. It's advertising. Your system, when it comes from Dell or HP's Notorious or some other company, your system is loaded with ads. That's advertising. And it's just horrible. It's just a shame that we have to put up with this. And then because of Microsoft's paranoia, you don't even get an operating system disk. What are you supposed to do if the hard drive crashes? In fact, if you ask me, that just promotes piracy. It doesn't eliminate it. It promotes it. Boris, Woodland Hills, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey there, Leo. How are you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Fighting the fight. So.
All right.
I'm looking to remove a Smart HDD virus from my desktop.
I can go through a whole bunch of steps, malware, bytes, and blah, 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 blah. But I can tell you right now, and you can Google Smart HDD removal, and you'll find a whole bunch of answers. Microsoft even has an answer.
That's exactly where my question is. Which one do you trust?
Yeah. Well, Microsoft...
Because now I got trust issues.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because you got bit. And this is part of the problem.
That's right.
Right? Is how do you remove it? There's a second issue. Say you could remove it. How can you be sure you did? How are you sure you don't have anything, right? You don't. So bleeping Microsoft's Security Essentials, their answers.microsoft.com, points to an article at bleepingcomputer.com, which is a great site. Everybody should have a link, a bookmark to Bleeping Computer. You can absolutely trust it. And they do have an uninstall guide. It's a couple of years old for Smart HDD. But I have to tell you, in almost every case, somebody who has one bug on their computer has more. They may be aware of the one. They may not be aware of the others. You may remove the one and blithely go along computing, completely unaware that you have 500 more on there.
Right.
So every security expert I know has a very simple recommendation. As soon as you get malware in a system, the only way to be sure you don't have any more is to format the hard drive and install from a known good source. And by the way, this is why you have to have a copy of Windows.
I was going to mock myself with that because I don't.
It's not your... No, do not mock yourself. Be angry at Microsoft because it's their fault. It's not your fault. If you buy a PC these days, you very rarely get a copy of Windows. All because Microsoft thinks stupidly, arrogantly, wrongly that you're going to sell that copy or loan that copy to a friend so they can install Windows too. That's why Microsoft not only doesn't let PC manufacturers sell copies of their operating system, they have 3 different anti-piracy protection mechanisms on there, one of which, Windows Genuine Advantage, produces, according to Microsoft, 5% false positives. 1 in 20 Windows users is told their copy's not genuine. Oh, no, that's appalling. How they get, I mean, it's appalling. It's not right. It's wrong. They're making plenty of money. You know, why are they treating us like thieves, especially when they've created an environment where hackers are able to load us up with malware, and then we don't have a way to fix it? So you have my deepest sympathy. I mean, you're stuck. It's not your fault. You're stuck. You bought a PC, didn't have an install disk. You've got malware. You need an install disk.
Now, another question for you then. How come my antivirus didn't capture it?
Well, no antivirus is going to be perfect because these viruses mutate. They're not actually, it's not an appropriate way to discuss it.
Right.
The bad guys are changing it rapidly because they know that antiviruses are detected. The way antiviruses most of the time detect viruses is by matching strings, little pieces of code. So when you download those definitions, all the definitions is I don't know what the length is, maybe 128 bytes worth of text that is in the virus. And then they scan the drive trying to match that text. If they find that block of text, they say, this must be the virus. That's all they do. And now sometimes that's wrong, by the way. It's not unusual at all in this technique to have false positives where you identify something that's not a virus as a virus. But you can also have false negatives in which they miss it because the guys who wrote the malware said, well, we changed this right here. We changed this, changed the A to a B, and it doesn't, suddenly the signature doesn't work anymore. And they do that all the time. So it's not unusual. Really, the antivirus is your second line of defense. You're the first line of defense. You have to be careful about what you do. Every virus requires a program to be run on your system. It will not work unless the bad guy can get you to run a program or trick the operating system or some of the software in your computer to, in effect, run a program without your knowledge. That's why we patch all the time, because we find these vulnerabilities in the operating system that let a bad guy run a program without you knowing. Adobe has to patch Flash almost daily, and Acrobat and Reader almost daily, because they're so full of holes. And then all you'd have to do, if you have this flawed Reader, for instance, is download a carefully crafted PDF. You go to a website that has it on there. You don't even know you're downloading it, and it's not running a program. It's just running Reader, and Reader does it. So it's a nasty world we live in. The antivirus isn't going to protect you. You have to protect yourself. You have to be careful about where you get files, the sites you visit. You must absolutely update Windows the minute those update. Turn on automatic updates. Very important. Do you know how you got this virus?
I'm pretty sure it's an email.
Yeah, email attachments, another problem. I've said for years.
Amazon.
Yeah, don't open attachments. They also do social engineering, so you'll get a Facebook's hacked all the time, right? It's not Facebook, it's your friends on Facebook that get hacked. And what'll happen is your friend will send you an update that says, hey, I can't believe what you did last night. Check out this video. You try to run the video. It says, oh, you need to install Flash. You say, oh, okay. You install, quote, Flash. It's malware. So you got to be really careful. What? What is this, the Up With People version of Ruby Tuesday?
Mick Jagger last night.
Mick Jagger is singing this last night where?
For Kristen Wiig's Goodbye on SNL.
Oh, this is from Saturday Night Live. I guess Kirsten Wiig decided to leave because now she's a big...
Foo Fighters, Jeff Beck, Steve Martin, John Hamm. Have a great summer.
Does it Mick Jagger's accent sound phony to you? I think he was born in Hoboken. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Last few minutes of the show. I have time for a couple of calls. I think let's start with Gary. He's trucking through the great state of Texas. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Leo. Thanks so much for taking my call. How's it going today?
My pleasure. It's going great. Thanks for calling.
Well, I'm an old time Mac guy. I'm a Mac convert. Last time I had a Windows machine was like back in '95.
Oh wow!
I'm thinking, I'm thinking about getting another machine to get a home network, so I can share cycles, so I can do like a handbrake a little quicker. Is that going to work? If I have an old G4 PowerBook and the back screen illumination busted, so I bought myself a new Mac Mini. Well, it's about a year old now, and I'm thinking of getting a MacBook Air when the Retina screen comes out in a few months.
Yeah, that's the rumor. The rumor is that Apple will start shipping double resolution screens when they update the MacBook Pros. I don't know if there'll be an Air version, but the MacBook Pros next month. This is all rumor. Apple doesn't tell anything. But it does make sense because, as I had mentioned earlier in the show, Intel is going to start shipping an updated version of its processors designed for laptops, the Ivy Bridge for laptops in June. And it would I would fully expect Apple to be shipping Ivy Bridge MacBook Pros. The rumor is strong that it will be a double resolution or Retina display. Now, the truth is, they're already Retina displays, but an even higher resolution display would be kind of cool. Now, you're saying you want a faster computer so Handbrake runs faster?
Well, I'm thinking about networking my old Mac and my new Mac together so I can share cycles. I have like my own little supercomputer.
So you want to do distributed rendering, I guess is what I would call it.
There you go.
Yeah. Does Handbrake support that?
I don't know. That's
software. The software has to do it. I don't think Handbrake does. I know that Compressor, for instance, which is Apple's product that comes with Final Cut, does. The higher-end Pro products will let you use multiple machines. Well, this is kind of an interesting idea. So rendering, which is or transcoding, which is a very CPU-intensive process, can be sped up. They do this certainly at Pixar when they do their movies by distributing bits of the render to multiple computers across the network. You call it a render farm. Because you might have as many as 100 or 200 or 1,000 computers all working on part of the image. And it works very well because an image can easily be divided up into chunks. You take line 1 through 5. You take line 6 through 10. You take line 11 through 15, and so on. And then those lines are rendered by each individual computer and reassembled over the network. But the software has to do the coordination. It just doesn't happen automatically.
Well, now, I thought that any program that had a Unix or Linux command line.
No. Threading is to be built in. So I don't know if Handbrake does. I doubt Handbrake does. Compressor does. You could buy Compressor on the App Store if you're using Snow Leopard or later.
Okay.
And Compressor is, it's not going to do the same thing Handbrake does, but it is designed for taking video in one format and transcoding it. And it will do that across multiple computers. But, believe me, this is not something everybody is going to want to do. See, here's distributed encoding. This is the Compressor description. Install Compressor on any Mac to activate it as a cluster node for distributed encoding. Save time by distributing work among multiple workstations. Speed up encoding in Final Cut Pro by choosing a Compressor cluster. They call this clustering. Yeah, it's kind of a high-end computing thing. I think you're going to get the best results speeding up Handbrake. By getting a new computer with a faster processor, that you'll start using the high-end GPUs, the graphics processing units in these computers. And then I would also look at an SSD. The MacBook Airs do come with SSDs. It turns out it's not merely the processor speed, it's the write and read speed. So speeding up write and read will help. Now, Handbrake is multi-threaded, D-Mill says, but that doesn't mean it's clusters. It supports clusters. It means on a single computer it will use as many threads as the processors are capable of. So again, you'll benefit by having a faster processor with more cores. It will be able to do more. And in fact, that's kind of what's going on with these multi-core computers nowadays. If you buy a Intel i5 or i7 chip, you'll have 2 or even sometimes 4 processors in a single chip. And each of those processors, if you get an i7, is multi-threaded. That means it can do 2 things at once. It's hyper-threading is what they call it. So if you buy a 4-core i7 processor, you're actually doing as many as 8 separate things at the same time. It's like having 8 computers working on the same thing. So that can make a very big difference. And then, of course, if you buy a Mac Pro, you can do even more. Some i7s have 6 cores. So that means they have 6 processors in one chip. Wow! How much money do you have? How important is it for you to rip those DVDs faster? How important is that? Rick in Tahunga, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, here's my question and here's my reason for asking. I'm wondering if you could tell me if anyone makes a device like a DVR that I can program for recording content off the Internet. The reason I'm asking is there's a weekly webcast I'd like to watch with 2 problems. 1, I'm busy at the time it airs, and 2, they don't archive it, they only stream it live.
Well, first of all, you ought to send them a note saying, hey, why don't you archive it? Because for crying out loud, that's why we archive everything we do, because we know people can't always watch live.
Leo, if everyone did what you did, the world would be a better place.
Well, I agree with you on that.
Thank you. That's very nice. Yes, there are a number of programs that will allow you to record. They don't post it on YouTube or anything. They just stream it. And how do they stream it? Is it Ustream?
I believe it is. I haven't checked that, but I think it's Ustream.
Because if it's Justin.tv, Justin records automatically, which is very nice. But if it's not, there are, in fact, programs that will do this for a long time. Total Recorder has been the choice that I have recommended. I think let me just make sure they're still updating this. It's a fantastic program. Total Recorder will basically record anything on your computer. TotalRecorder.com. Yeah, they're keeping it up to date. It's a good program. Highly recommended.
It'll be in the show notes?
Yes, of course. James does that at TechGuyLabs.com. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the TWiT Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.